still impressed myself. Oh, thank you. No, for real, thank you. No, it's enough.
We have dozens of fans.
What? Whoa, hold on. Stop. Oh, all right, enough. Every time I watch that, and I have quite a few shows. I produce a lot. I think I still love the intro to this show the most out of any show I've done so far.
Well, you got all the nostalgic technology in there, getting the VCR and getting the TV and everything. Yeah, it's right up your alley, man.
It also kind of up the alley of Pearl Jam, which I think they don't understand nostalgia. We'll talk about that too if we have a moment later on. But
might have a lot of moments.
We might have a lot of moments. I'm Anthony from the Touring Fan Live. Welcome if this is the first time you've ever come on the Touring Fan Live's platform. I appreciate you coming on. Randy from Live on Four Legs podcast, of course. We do this show, Destined to Remember. This is actually the 7th time we've done the show. Usually we have Dave from livefootsteps.org, but unfortunately he has some other obligations, so he won't be joining us this evening. But what doesn't mean we will not be using his platform, because we definitely will be using his platform, because that is a great way to get educated on all things Pearl Jam. But tonight we are here, and we are on the shadows. We're living in the shadows of a tour that has just passed us. The sun's going down on the 2023 Pearl Jam tour, but we are living through the minutes and the moments and the YouTube clips and the bootleg soundtracks that are coming out. And we are here to talk about all that. Randy, how is it going over by you?
It's going great. When I first kind of talked to you about doing this episode, I kind of said, well, is the tagline post-tour depression? And you gave a little laugh at that. And then I kind of thought to myself, I'm like, you know what? I'm not actually like feeling post-tour depression. It's kind of one of those things. It's like, you're sad to see it go, but you're happy it was there. So I'm kind of in this like happy that it happened moment. So I'm still kind of on cloud nine from Chicago. Listen to both Minnesota boots and listen to like half of that first Chicago boots. They're phenomenal. There's so many great moments to go back to. We'll talk about just about all of them that I think this fan base waited a real long time to hear. Like just songs that have never ever been back to the fold like this. And it was rewarding for a lot of people that have chased things, that have traveled. And it really feels like, my partner John on Live on Four Legs, he always says that this tour was like giving the travelers something that they, giving them their due. And he's right. Everybody that decided, I know a lot of people that went down, Mar Vigil, who did her blog over at our website, it did all 9 days writing about her show's experience like that. I mean, incredible. A lot of people I know did that. And that's part of, why we keep going to these shows all the time, is because the band keeps giving us more. And then how I find myself right now, it's like the band isn't secondary, but I'm planning stuff with my friends. I'm making sure I get to see everybody that I can, because that's the special moment. We can talk about more of that later, but Pearl Jam shows can be family reunions. And, sometimes it's just a glorious thing to just be able to see so many people in one place at one time sharing the same moment.
No, I can totally agree with you on that. I think the one thing too about this tour that made it real simple for people to travel was it was kind of like a straight line, and it was just kind of in the middle of the country going straight down. And I mean, there was a lot of people I know that did like the Chicago side, and then they did all 4 shows in Texas, which was a pretty easy do. And, there were some change-ups, of course, because of, cancellation, and that was an interesting factor. And, of course, COVID really did play a big part in the fan side and also the band side.
Yeah.
Of how this tour went on, and there's just so much to it. But I mean, for just a short amount of shows, I mean, really, this is a very small tour. I mean, done in what, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks?
Yeah, they spread it out a lot, but yeah.
I mean, and it's crazy how long it took to get that many shows in. I mean, in the past, that could have been done in about a week and a half, 2 weeks, really, but they spaced it out a little bit. I think that has a lot to do with them, their age and whatever, and them exploring a little bit. But it's interesting, and we'll dig into some more stuff. But I'm glad I did it. I don't know how the future holds for me, how many shows I'm going to continue to do. Like, am I going to go dig deep into it like 2013 where I almost went to every show? Or, 2010 when I almost went to every show? Am I going to be doing that again? Or is it going to be like selective? And I haven't decided yet. This tour made I had more thoughts in my head on the plane ride home, and I had a fantastic time, and I enjoyed the shows thoroughly, loved them, and there was a point where I was like, I was bummed I didn't get to see you. That was a huge bummer. Because
That's what you were saying with COVID before, man. It was everybody. It felt like everybody in Chicago. Year
with
2, where our karaoke partner's a super spreader.
So I will promise you that if you ever have a karaoke event, I will not be attending. You're
Outdoors
battling.
next time.
There we
Outdoors.
go. There we go. It's just it's I missed you. My good friend Brad that I'm very close with. He did the first 2 shows and I didn't get to do those, and there was people. Jen who's done stuff with the show. She went to Chicago night 2. I didn't get a chance to see her, and I just didn't get to see everybody I wanted to because it was a lot of people were more were just kind of selective, and I didn't get to see Dale. Whatever, a lot of people, and I did get to see a lot of good people when I was in Fort Worth, but it's going to be to the point where I really wish I got to see more of my friends. I'm jealous of the people in Austin who got to hang out with Tanya and get to do, fan portraits, which is something that, I love and I think is a fantastic thing that she does. And it was good to see a lot of smiling faces and get her, uppings. That book, if you haven't bought it yet, you're missing out. But no, I'm rambling on. So let's get into this a little bit. I know that we built a little rundown sheet. You want to start running us down there, Randy?
Oh, that means I was anticipating on the rundown just being on the screen like it usually was, but now I gotta go to this.
Let me explain something to you. If you tuned in last night to Let's Talk Vinyl, we had a shit ton of. It brought me back to when I first started doing podcasts. Damn echoing, fucking delays, imaging looked like shit. It was like, holy Christ. Like, I was fucked. And then today I literally was on the phone for 3 hours, 2 hours for the road for this soundboard that I spent a shit ton of money on, and my iPad with the switcher program that I use for this, that literally they both updated and they just fucked both of them. And it was just a matter of me on a phone trying to figure it all out. So I didn't get to do as many graphics as I wanted to today with work in this, but it sounds good. It looks good. Your face is on here. Mine's on here. I don't think we have an echo. No one's complained about it yet.
No.
So we're good. So we're going to continue. So I say we just go down through the run sheet. I will say, just to make sure we are still doing this correctly, at some point tonight, I am excited that we will have the opportunity to take calls live. We're gonna
It's like
try
a real radio show. Shit.
it is
Kind of a dream
real,
come true right there.
it is a real radio show. I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna show the graphic. Don't call yet, but we're gonna pop up a graphic with a live studio line. You get to call in if you want to and tell stories. We'll wait till the end. If anyone calls, great. If not, it is what it is. This is something new to me, so we'll give it a whirl.
Awesome.
I just got to connect via Bluetooth and go from there. So, but yeah, let's go run.
Really cool.
Let's run this shit down, Randy.
All right. So, topic number 1, overview. Talk about themes of this tour, the story as it continued forward, and this being the end of a chapter in Pearl Jam history. All right. Well, you kind of touched up on, this was supposed to be 9 dates and it ended up being 8 dates. And it's, you have a challenge laid out ahead of you in order to complete this and make this something special, because they could have just ran through this year and been like, all right, guys, we're just kind of warming up for the next record and that's it. But they really dug deep into the catalog. And I think that's a huge, huge theme for this year, was just going back to that back catalog and giving every single location something to be happy about. You go, even if it's something like Minnesota on night 1 got Indifference to open. I thought that was a really special moment. And then later in the show, they got Insignificance. You go to Chicago, God's Dice, Marker in the Sand on night 2. And you go down the line in Fort Worth. I mean, Fort Worth night 2 is a fan show right there. That is one where the fans, it's basically a requestable show. You had the severed hand moment. You had the Brain of Jay, of course, yeah, we'll get into that, I suppose, at some point. But then you had Undone,
Yeah.
and it's tying two stories together that happened on this tour where somebody requested for Undone and didn't get it. Took a couple of days for them to work it out. Then they finally got it. And then the other one, which is getting Severed Hand the night after somebody threw a severed hand on stage,
Yeah.
which I guess backstory to that, what I didn't know, somebody got in touch with me yesterday and told me it was one of our patrons. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Is that a
It's
good
somebody I
thing or
haven't
a
talked
bad
to for
thing?
a while, but yeah, that's kind of a cool little tidbit there. I mean, any other patrons have done anything crazy, then just let me know because it's just good to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is all about that and going deep into the catalog and also some of the stories that they told were just phenomenal. I made a list and we can go over it in the next segment, but I made a list of what I thought were the key elements of what people are going to go back to. And it's really like special stuff.
Sure.
I'm really still amazed that everything went down the way it did. And I held 2022 in very, very high regard. Some people said, it didn't have enough cuts and didn't have it enough from the back catalog, Riot Act, Avocado, whatever. And this was kind of a fill in for that. And I, they're they know how to make magic. They know how to make the magic happen. And I feel like, in preparation for the new album to come out, they were able to pull a rabbit out of the hat and say, okay, this is classic Pearl Jam that we're doing now. And, Gigaton kind of gets the shaft from that, which is very unfortunate, but they kind of got the shaft last year. So
Yeah.
it would be very interesting going forward out of the Gigaton era, how much of those songs and what songs will get brought over to the other side.
Well, and I just want to bring up a point here. So Sean Hamilton says severed hand and marker in the sand moments laugh out. How's that become exciting? And I think it's because of the fact that and I think in about 7 years we're going to be saying almost the same things for songs off a Gigaton. These are songs that are not heavily played anymore. And in moments of we heard them a lot when they first came out, which that comes off of album tours. They've really been on the back burner for Pearl Jam for a hot minute. And with Severed Hand, I think that's more of the request side of it and the story behind it. That's a story that's going to be out forever of a hand being thrown on stage, and then on night one and then night two it coming back out and then getting thrown back into the audience. There's just a lot more to it. And then I don't know. Marker in the Sand I love Marker in the Sand. I think it's an underrated song. But
Let
the
me tell
one,
you something.
yeah,
This is what makes Marker in the Sand a moment. Just give me a moment here. This is what makes Marker in the Sand a moment. Okay, this was on my list. I should have pulled out my list of like my wish list for this tour, and
mm-hmm,
Marker of the Sand was on it. And Marker of the Sand was kind of on it to be sort of like a kind of throw a Hail Mary sort of thing. I know they're really not going to do it, but I hadn't seen it since my first show.
okay,
It's not a song that I thought a lot about until maybe the last year or so. And the more I hear it, the more I just love it. It has a really cool dynamic within the riffy verses and then going into a chorus that's almost like holy and kind of like clean and really interesting sound that kind of the only real record that they did that on was Avocado. But I no getting that information and kind of picking this song to be like my one sleeper pick, and then the minute those chords strum, I almost didn't believe it that they were actually doing the song, but I think I might have lost control. And you can say that about almost any song that people are going to react to like that, and somebody might react to Black like that, and that's
sure,
totally fine. But I don't think I was the only person in that arena that reacted to Marker in the Sand like that because it hadn't been played since I believe 2016. That's a long time.
correct,
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think the total between shows, I believe, was 86 shows. So that's a moment because it's Pearl Jam paying tribute to what they did in their history and also the people that go and follow them around and love every record that they have. It was special.
yeah,
It
I agree.
was That's what it was. It was down tuned. I don't give a rat's ass that it was down tuned. Like that's something that is irrelevant to me. But that is part of why things are moments, because you talk about them afterwards. This was mentioned early because we're talking about it. It's a good talking point. And not just that, but all the Avocado songs they played. You mentioned Severed Hand. That one's a special moment because that is a song that got held over a lot from Into the Backspacer tour. And we heard it a lot in 2010, 2011, and even going into 2013 a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's why it's just like, if you love this band, you fall in love with this band, you kind of remember certain eras for what they are. And it's kind of like going through like a photo album or something like that. It's like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that. I remember that. I remember getting that song.
Sure.
And then all those old memories come and hit you right in the face the minute those chords hit. And I sure, if you want to argue that, then argue it. But I think that's my firm stance on this.
So the song's only been played 13 times, including in this tour, since 2006.
That's not a lot.
That's not a lot. So that is, it's a pretty deep thing. And I mean, and realistically, like, it was played 2023 once, 2016 once, twice in 2014. So then you're talking about, in 9 years' time, it was only played 3 times previous to that, and then once in 2011, once in 2010. So realistically, in 13 years, it's only been played, what was that, 5 times? 6 times? So it is a rare song. So, and once again, I think it comes to that idea, you know, the collector, the people that follow the band that miss out on it. If you miss out on the 2006 tour, the odds of you getting it is pretty damn slim. And, you know, I think that just becomes the idea behind it. I find no issues. I actually thoroughly enjoyed this song. But like I said, I think it comes down to almost Gigaton in a way. You know, this has been an album that has COVID attached to it. Whether you like it or not, that's kind of what it is. It came out during a time when everyone was stuck inside, and basically, once again, I'm gonna keep saying this, in the shadows of a tour being canceled, people upset by it, whether you agreed with it or not, and then it just frustrated people. And then as the music came out, it took years to hear it live. We got to see it live for the first time, and while it was fun, I don't think there was attachment to that album as there is other albums that you get to see live rather quickly. And you know as well as I do, being a part of Pearl Jam social media online a lot, there is a lot of hatred toward Gigaton. Like, there is a lot of people that just dislike the album. I am not one of them. There is a lot of songs on there that I
like it.
I thoroughly like. Like, Dance to the Clairvoyance, I dance to that. I get down to it. You know, you saw me in, what was it? I think it was Oklahoma City. Maybe. No, it was St. Louis.
St. Louis, probably.
Dancing my ass off. I get down to it. But, you know, I can understand why people have certain feelings to it. We are now officially, as Eddie said on Night 2 of Austin, the Gigaton tour is done. It's over. This has been a very long Gigaton tour, and we are now moving to something different. The new album's coming out. You know, I wonder. I don't think Scott would be mad. I'm going to text somebody real quick to get permission about a story before I bring it up. But the album's fantastic. The album's going to, you know, there's a lot to it. It's we're excited. We're on to a new album. And I think we're going to have more attachment to this album because it's going to be, I guarantee you, tour leading up to the album coming out during the tour. We're going to be able to hear some of the songs before it comes out, similar to Lightning Bolt, Chicago, Wrigley, Come On Now. How much fun was that? You know, that was when, what was it when you can live stream it? You couldn't do it on Facebook. It was an app.
Periscope.
Everyone was periscoping it, and then everyone's like,
but
what
also you got to think about Wrigley. Do you remember the Wrigley story about how there was like like outside of the venue, there was like a camera hanging on a light post or something like that, and the only thing you got the whole time was somebody screaming, "Get your water here! Get your water here!" Do you remember that at all?
Remember that? Oh my God! You know, but once, and here's the cool thing. That just think how long ago that was. It was 10 years ago. Right? Yeah. 2013. And we still kind of remember those silly moments. And I think we're going to have a lot of memories when it comes to this tour. You know, am I glad the tour's over? Kind of. I'm ready for something new. I am excited about what's next for the band. And, you know, I'm going to let you talk for a minute because I'm going to text someone just to make sure I'm okay to say this, to tell the story.
I'll expand on that thought because I think it's cool that it's 8. And if it were more like 12 or 13, and also it's cool that every place except obviously what was set to be Indy had 2 shows attached to it, and it's a lot easier to remember those shows attached to each other, I think, when you're in the situation. And I think going back, what we'll see in retrospect is we'll see, like, I don't know, almost like a series, like kind of, I wouldn't say like a ballpark series kind of deal, but like they're all tied together. And that's kind of the cool thing about it. You know, you know, uh, I think we will look very fondly over the past couple of years. Rewind that. I think we'll look very fondly into the future when talking about this tour. And I think there'll also be a little bit, like you were saying, a little bit of like what could have been, because think about if they had gone through 2020 and did all of what they had set to do and more, because they were supposed to do more in the fall, and then 2021 just kind of do things again, and then 2022 do things again. If this were the last year, then we would have this fulfilling tour where potentially they would have hit every location in the United States and more so.
Yeah.
So, but I think getting to that for next year, and what we kind of have been hinting on social media and places that we've seen, it looks like South America might be the next up. But yeah, I think from that standpoint, I think a lot of people are going to remember this because everything is so packaged together, and it was in this kind of small neighborhood of places right in the middle of the Midwest.
If they go to South America, what is the over under that Black Circle plays with them?
What do you
'Cause here-
mean?
here-
Like, do
here's
they?
the-
Is it a yes or no? Or
Yeah, I mean, like, what do you think the chances are? I mean, if this was maybe closer to the beginning of Gigaton, like right when COVID hit and like first touring, I think the odds are much higher than they are now.
But-
But I think with them finally getting down there, do you think that the band either just comes out for a song, or do they open for them? What do you
I
think?
can see. I can see. I don't know about open, because it's gonna be a lot of Lollapalooza festival stuff. So I don't know if they have their own shows that are going to be happening in stadiums like that. I don't know if they'll end up opening.
Okay.
It's, I know they have their own material and everything like that, but it would be tough for I call them, I don't know. It would be tough for them to open for them.
All right, cool.
And
Interesting enough.
I think that there is potential for a Rockin' in the Free World, I think.
I could see that, yeah.
And definitely a mention, because you have to think, I believe it was Austin where one of their flags got on stage and Ed kind of waved it for a second or two. So he's obviously he will be thinking about it. So
Sure. All right. Now, last thing I want to bring up that oh God, if this is the case, if My Morning Jacket's going to be opening for Pearl Jam, then I am South American bound. Like my passport's ready.
That's a rumor
just,
right now.
But the odds of that honestly happening with as peak that My Morning Jacket is selling out everything they want to do, I just find that hard to believe. But that's just me. So, anyway,
Yeah.
it is interesting fact before we move on to our next thought. The tour is done, but they never completed the album. And I don't think we'll ever hear.
It's not the first time that's happened.
It's not?
No, because No Code in 96, and I guess 97 was really nothing, but in the No Code era, so to speak, I'm Open never got played. And you can say that about Yield. Low Light didn't get played until I believe it was 2001 Bridge School show.
Okay.
So there have been a couple. I believe all the Riot Act stuff got played because of Mansfield.
Yep.
All Avocado, all Backs. But yeah, but this is the first one so far out of studio album songs, not including Whale Song and Grammy and
Sure.
those songs off of Lost Dogs. But yeah, this is the first song or only song right now off a studio album that is completely just not been played.
All right. Now let's kind of change it over and let's talk about these shows, right? There was 9 shows originally. They only played 8. Starting up in Minnesota. Interesting place to play first, but it makes sense based off the map. Did you go to Minnesota?
I did not, no.
So,
I live vicariously. That's something I will say all night. I live vicariously through everybody.
Sure. Streaming, I will tell you this. I feel like this was the best streamed tour. I felt like there was a lot of great streams online that were
Yeah.
accessible to get to. I feel like technology has definitely caught up with the fact that it's easy to stream, and if you do it correctly and set your settings on it correctly, like I think if anyone watches the stream I did, your phone will last the whole damn show.
Right.
So it was great. He was nice to watch, and there was some I also really enjoy the fans' interaction with songs. So I definitely felt like Minnesota Night 1 there was a lot of fun there. I just felt like the crowd was really into it, and I felt like there was just, talking to Brad, who's a good friend of mine, who's also chatting in the chat room here. Him and Sam said they had a great, fantastic time, and I think it was a good start to it. Are we talking? No, that merch is later. Okay, so yeah, what's your thoughts?
Just about Minnesota in general.
Yeah, let's talk about Minnesota as a whole. The two shows.
All right,
in
Minnesota as a whole, including St. Paul. I really liked night 1 and how night 1 started. I think that it really, opening with Indifference, really set the tone for the whole entire tour. Everybody wants to talk before the first show. What's the first song going to be?
Yep.
A lot of answers are probably going to be Long Road. Some will be released for sure, but what they did to completely throw you off into another direction was take one of their common closers and switch it up into the opener role, which it had opened up like 1 or 2 shows. I believe the last time was 1994 in Denver. You might be able to quote me on that. I think that's the correct answer as to when that was an opener for the last time.
Okay.
And it because of that surprise factor, it turns into from like a woo, Pearl Jam is starting to holy shit, Pearl Jam is starting. And that's so much more when you have that extra added factor into that, which, there are bands where they could have played St. Paul in the same situation and opener would have been like big hit after big hit. And then you go to the second show in St. Paul and maybe there's like 2 or 3 songs difference, but it's mostly the same. And I think that just the way that, songs kind of came out of the blue like that. And this show had insignificance as well as Indifference. And then every show had something along those lines. And I think that just kind of kept people wanting more and kept like feeding into that. Okay, we're traveling. It's not even a collector thing. I think it's just something that I haven't seen for a long time thing and something that we're just missing out of this. And it's just like part of a Pearl Jam show, which puts it all together. Go ahead. Well, I was going to say, I think the big moment to take away from both St. Paul nights is Love Boat Captain and the tribute to Hawaii, because you could tell Ed was getting really choked up during that and looked over at Boom, and him and Boom were connecting. And then you don't think, that's another thing that's kind of spontaneous. You don't think that they're going to go into the jam while Boom is playing that B3 part over Ed speaking, but they went and did the jam. And then I get kind of goosebumps thinking about it, but Ed's line, let the healing begin. Oh, that is going to be pretty much unbeatable when we talk about performances and moments from this entire tour. That was a special one. And then night 2, Prince, you're in the territory and you got Purple Rain, and everybody that I talked to that was local to the area was so thrilled that they had gotten that. And we saw it a bunch of times last year, but I think it's important that got played as the last song of the 2 nights there. So, but again, lots of really, really cool moments from both nights. A good way to kick it off.
Totally agree with you. And then the band jumps over to Chicago, which seemed to be the definitely a lot. I knew a lot more people went to Chicago than any of the shows. It just seemed like a lot of people flocked to Chicago.
True.
And you're talking about 2 pretty. I don't think there was a lot of songs repeated over 2 nights, if I'm correct.
3.
I don't think, and I also was there only 2 between Minnesota as well, right? It was Even Flow and Porch were the only 2 songs repeated.
No, Alive did. I think Elderly Woman did, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe St. Paul was 5. Chicago was definitely 3.
Okay.
I got you back, man. I got
I
you back. Don't
appreciate it.
worry
Ah,
about
good.
this. Don't
Yeah,
worry
that's why
about
I
this.
never said I was perfect. But if you think
I
about it,
did.
well, I appreciate that. 48 songs over 2 nights, only 2 being repeated, so you get 46 complete songs over 2 nights. I mean that and here's the thing. What I like about this, and there was a comment brought up a little while ago, I don't remember who said it. With these kind of shows, right? Most people are going to both. And then you have a day in between to kind of hang with friends in a city most people don't ever go to. Chicago's a bigger city, so maybe more people have been to that one than others, but Minnesota had it. It's kind of cool that you can kind of like have one show, get a huge high, hang out with friends, enjoy the moments, catch up, do the thing, have another show, have a high, and then it's just kind of you can kind of level off. It's a real cool roller coaster of different emotions over 3 days that really can impact somebody. I mean, I had it. I mean, you had it, and you did much more stuff than I did. So it's kind of cool how they do that, and it's unique that Austin was the only one that really didn't have that. But no, I mean, when you look at these set lists from both nights in Chicago, ending with Surrender on the first night on the 5th is a really cool way. And I mean, I remember watching it on the live stream, and I was kind of falling asleep on my phone, and then I heard the chords, I'm like, what the fuck? And then I thought they'd go into something after that, and that's how they ended the show. I'm like, you know what? Instead of giving us Barbara O'Reilly or Rocking the Free World, they give us something totally different, and I really thought that was a cool thing to do.
Yeah, the local nod to the Rockford area Cheap Trick. And I think what I loved about that performance was that at the end, Ed is pointing to everybody in the band. McCready's all right. Stone's all right. Matt's all, and he was doing this whole thing going to the crowd, and he seemed just so electric on that and fired up. And that, I think, from that moment, and then minutes later, about to walk out to go and do instant reaction episodes, like I was so fired up for the second night after that. I'm like, damn fucking right, we're all right, we're all feeling real good after this. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, that performance was awesome, and I'm not the biggest Cheap Trick fan in the world, but you know what, like the song is a special song, and I happened to see the band play it with the guys from Cheap Trick a couple years back. But yeah, other stuff that happened in Chicago, and I'm going to talk about your off day thing in a second because that's really special to me too. The first night, getting stuff like God's Dice, and there were Retrograde and whoever said kind of at the tail end of that first 4 open, and getting Release was fantastic, of course. And I felt like the crowd wasn't into the double back-to-back Gigaton, which, for my money, they're 1 and 2, and I believe Quick Escape got played later, which is also a really fantastic performance. I think those 3 are 1, 2, 3 on that record for me. But once he got kicked in the corduroy and the crowd started building up and started getting into it, like the show was just sky's the limit from there. And God's Dice, now I got to remember, getting In My Tree was awesome.
Faithful, Animal, Light Years.
Animal was cool because the tie-in to the bear.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people have watched that show. I've only watched like small amounts, and I really got to catch up on that, but I don't know if I have the right streaming service or anything. But tying all of the stories into Chicago somehow, but like cultivating from 2 really special moments.
Yeah. And then
RVM for France.
Yeah, and then you have In My Tree, Comatose, Down, Rearview Mirror.
Yeah, the Rearview Mirror for Franz was really special. I'm pretty close with Marty, who does Pearl Jam Scotland, and I knew he was doing this. And when you see him doing something and rallying up the troops together, it's going to be something special. And he really put something special together. Franz was a beloved member of the community that passed away earlier this year with his battle of cancer, and just really sad story. And I always kind of say that when something like that happens, you get remembered by, you kind of have a legacy within Pearl Jam that he got a song dedicated to him. That's on bootlegs. That will never go away.
No, never goes away.
It's there forever. And that's such an important thing when somebody makes that kind of an impact on this band's fans like that.
Yeah.
like everybody's going to be talking about River Mirror for Franz like for the next couple decades until maybe this is all over kind of deal.
Sure.
And then the other special moment, Anthony, throw your arms around me with the talking about the family and his grandmother's old house and then meeting with them and being scared by a couple of them and the guy that was supposed to go to law school, I believe it was. I'm not sure, law school or doctor school, but like him pausing that and making sure that he went to the show that night. I mean, like I think that pound for pound might be my favorite Eddie story he's ever told at a show. And that's saying a lot because he's had a lot of good ones and he's had a lot of rambling ones. And this one, he was able to keep straight and really get all the details in and just make it really charming. And he got people laughing on his side. And he showed the pictures, which were fantastic. Then you saw the video of the family member that was like pretty near the rail. That was, very emotional during this. It was really, really impactful. And it kind of, again, something that everybody's now in that moment. Everybody's brought together and feels like they're a part of like the family essentially. Like we felt that, it's a weird sensation, but it just because you're so tightly connected to the whole thing, now these people even though they don't know you. You know what I mean?
No, I totally understand what you're
really
saying.
Fantastic.
Well, I mean, a lot of emotions balled up and put definitely out through Eddie and the band on night one. Then you have your day off, and this is where jealousy really hit me. I mean, I was
too jealous because the outcome wasn't good.
Well, here's the thing. So originally we were supposed to, the Touring Fan Live was going to go to Chicago. We had an event space. We were going to do an event on the day in between the shows. And then, Pearl Jam Scotland had reached out and said they're doing something, to raise money, and they had a cause behind it. And then, there's other organizations doing their own thing. And, when we did our event in St. Louis last year, which was hugely successful, it took away from other things going on in the city. And, I didn't want to be that person, especially with other things going on. So I said, you know what, Randy, I think we're going to hang back on this one. There's a lot of work that gets involved in it. And, we're all doing some other things, lined up for some other stuff. I said, we're just going to hold off, let you guys do your thing. And then I just finally said, you know what, with stuff going on around my house and with my kids, I said, I'm just probably going to just do Fort Worth. And you're like, oh, that sounds great. We're going to do some stuff in Fort Worth. And, shit happens. But but the thing was, like, I was just like, I saw what night one was. And I was like, man, I wish I could have been there. Ending on Surrender, all these different songs, the storytelling, watching it on my phone. And then, we had texted a few times. And then in between, day two happens. And then I'm seeing, you're doing all these cool things. And you're seeing people that I want to see. And I'm like, fuck you, Randy. And, and then it's then explain your day off in between.
Well, it's funny that you kind of mentioned this because I took a lot of footage for the if you remember in one of the 10 Club letters, I believe it was the August one, that they wanted to get fan footage from going to a show. And I had actually emailed the 10 Club and I'm like, I hope this is okay, but I'd rather take footage of the day off in between because we're doing a lot of really, really special things. And those special things turned kind of into more special things that I wasn't really expecting. So I was actually just watching a lot of this footage from karaoke, from the Cubs game and all that. And it's, it's so much fun. It's whole movies and it's just so much fun to kind of relive it, especially this soon. And just know that like you were happy in that moment and you were at your peak. And, so I have to give so many thanks to Jason Brown. I don't know if Jason's listening right now, but if he is, then I love you, brother. Like you just were there every single moment for me on this tour. Like we had tickets in the 300 level. Talked to Jason. He's like, all right, I got you. You'll be down in the 100s for both shows. And then he's a Cubs season ticket holder. So he ends up inviting myself and my friend Aaron Redmond, if he's watching out there, to go down to the field and watch the Cubs take batting practice, which batting practice didn't end up happening, but we got to step on, the dirt of Wrigley Field and get like close up shots there. And holy, like you have dreams sometimes, and then you have things that you think will be really cool, and maybe you don't think of those things that'll be really cool, but they end up being dreams that are unexpected that you didn't
Sure.
know that you ever wanted to have. And I grew up a Mets fan. I'm a huge Mets fan, and I probably didn't even think of stepping on City Field as being anything like a dream, but like it's Wrigley Field, next to Fenway being one of the oldest stadiums ever and just a treasure of a place, and getting the privilege to just step so close to the grass was, I mean, it's kind of speechless sort of moment there. I am so thankful that I was able to have that and take footage of that and have the pictures and everything like that. It was just unbelievably special. The game was so much fun. We all kind of sat together in a section. I bought 10 seats. So I wanted this experience not to happen with like one or two other buddies. I wanted to all, because this is what it's all about. When you go and hang out with the Pearl Jam crew, it's a crew. You guys migrate together. It's not two people. It's more like, you can get to 5, you can get to 10. And I wanted to make sure that all my friends were there and we were sitting together. And it was just such a fun time. Alex, who came over from the UK, knew nothing about baseball. So we were sitting there like explaining things to him. And after the game, he's like, I really like this. I want to watch more of this. I'm like, dude, awesome. I will fucking tell you what to go back and check out and all that. And he was just really floored by it. So we did that, and that was so much fun. And then, we went and did the tribute to Sully at his local bar, which is unfortunately, I mean, weeks after we held that little party there, it's closing now, unfortunately. And that's really sad, but, I guess thankful that we were able to at least provide them with something financially while we were there, to go out on, I suppose. But, a lot of all of Sean's family was there. He has a big Irish family, his parents, his sisters, his brothers, everybody was there, and including all of his friends, Jill, his girlfriend, like everybody just wanted to come together because it was really, I guess, the first moment being in his hometown of Chicago and getting a moment for everybody to celebrate this. And, it was emotional. It was emotional. And that, Sean had cystic fibrosis and he had a lung replacement at one point. I can't remember how long before he passed, but, this is how you know that COVID is serious. And, how even where we are right now, we still have to really pay attention to it because he was triple vaccinated in, I believe, starting like it was January 2022 that he started feeling symptoms of COVID, had to be put on a ventilator. And then, everybody thought, this is Sean. He's done this before. And I think the news just sort of sideswiped everybody. And, I got to know Sean in small doses then. And I think what really caught me was that a lot of my really, really close friends in this community were affected by this. And not just, I mean, like emotionally and like hurt. And I just wanted to be there for them and, helping out with putting a fundraiser together and doing a raffle and karaoke and all that. Like, I just wanted, I guess in my standpoint, it's selfish for me to say that I wanted to do it because of Sean. I think I really wanted to do it because I wanted to help provide a lot of my really close friends with that peace of mind and do something really special to, in the aftermath of all this, like we talked about with Franz, keep the legacy alive.
Yeah.
And I was really proud to be a part of that. And we had a really good raffle and raffled off a lot of really cool items, including a signed set list that good friend Brian Horowitz, the host of Live on Four Legs side project, hallucinogenic recipe got to win that set list, and good people like Leela got to win a neon Eddie Vedder sign, and it just like everything on down was just terrific. And then karaoke, everybody just, it's another moment where we all come together and we all celebrate. And I went back and I looked at one of my songs was Animal. And I remember at one point, like during the back end where they're doing the I'd rather be, and I go to where the crowd is and I kind of lean back and I put the mic up like this, and everybody's surrounding me just like screaming into the mic. I'm just like, oh, this is so cool because this is you and all your friends celebrating this. And songs like Elderly Woman popped up, Alive would pop up, and it's like kind of like being at a small show that everybody knows all the lyrics and you're all sitting there celebrating it all together with, and supporting your friends who some of the people might have been a little, nervous going up to the mic, but it takes a lot to perform in front of people. And karaoke is one of my favorite things. So I love doing it, but like getting to see everybody, and I basically put together a set list of what I sang to.
Oh Jesus, is that going to be auctioned off at your next event?
No, that'll be ransom actually.
Oh, I think I think you and me are cut from the same cloth when it comes to the community.
Because we're from Long Island.
Fuck that. No, I don't. God, I hate New York. No, it's the fact that first of all, you and me have been a part of two events that we work together with, one in New Jersey and one in St. Louis. And we always talk before events, and it's always about, I don't ever think we ever say the word I. It's always, oh, the community isn't like that. Oh, we should do that for the community. Oh, that sounds like the community is going to love that. Oh,
you say that, and I didn't even mention Kevin O'Rourke's name. Like, that's like really, that was really stupid of me to do. Kevin O'Rourke is the one that wanted to start the whole thing. He's the one that's raising money and trying to be in this contest to raise the most money for cystic fibrosis. Yep. Like, that was bad on me, not even mentioning Kevin, Marty, Jill, just so many of people that wanted to help out and put their all into this.
Well, 100% takes a team to do it. I mean, you and me know well, you can't do this shit on your own. I mean, there are just so many moving pieces, but I mean, I don't think there's a better feeling in the world than you're doing all this for a good cause. We've always, our events, we've always raised money for something. You raise money for cystic fibrosis in honor of Sully. You were always doing, but it's like when you're done and you see the joy coming from the community that they can celebrate something in a moment around people that majority of them don't even know. Like I mean, let's be real. Most of the people that probably were in the room with that evening, they maybe knew a few people, but they didn't know 100% of that room. And I know that some of those people exchange phone numbers, and they're talking, and they're chit-chatting, and they're building memories forever. And the weird fucking thing about this entire thing, right? And I tried explaining this to somebody on my son's soccer team, is like, a band, these guys that created a band, that created songs, that put it out in the world from their emotions and their talent, created this community of people that are completely different, have different opinions on things and all these things and everything, but they come together at different times when they're touring. You get to fucking hang out with them. You get to make differences in the world, whether it's through charitable foundations, whether it's through activism, whether it's through whatever that Pearl Jam's done. And all of these things, while we're doing all the work, have come to light and have become something because of 5 guys on a stage performing music and creating something that we all have different feelings towards and that speak to us in different ways. And all of that is just kind of fucking mind-blowing to me.
I always say that, a lot of people think community is based off of where you live, because you think of the first 3 letters, the prefix of community, is COM. That's also the prefix of common. So community means common bond together. And, what I noticed is, living in a community is not necessarily where your people are. You just share land, essentially. And you're not going to think the same way as them religiously, politically. You're not going to have the same taste in music. You're going to have maybe different sports teams you root for. And that doesn't mean you can't coexist and get along, but it also
Sure.
doesn't mean you have this real deep connection and like understand each other. And I think that's what's so important is that, from the minute that you open your mouth and talk to somebody and start to make a new friend, you're like, we understand each other
Yeah.
instantly, that you can say something as simple as, oh yeah, I caught this song over in like Winnipeg this
Sure.
year, and people be like, oh cool, I've listened to that show before. And it just from there, and this is for people that are socially interactive and very extroverted, and it's also for people that I consider myself at times to be pretty introverted in spots, but and it took me a while to kind of branch out and really find the community that I wanted to find within this community.
Sure.
And once I did, like, I'm the most extroverted person on the planet, but like, it doesn't matter like who you are or, what your background is, or like if you were a nerd in high school or you were a jock in high school. Nobody gives a shit.
No.
Nobody gives a shit about any of that because you're celebrating the same things that are so special to me.
Yeah.
That I have lived and died with, for years. And you have that same common bond, and it goes deeper than just listening to music. Some people don't understand that. Some people can't understand that, but that's how this all connects, and that's how everything keeps going. Is that, that's why I made the shirts.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see my friends, because that is a common phrase that you use every time that a tour starts. Whenever you see on Facebook somebody post the travel post with the airplane and all that, it's gonna see my friends, and that's what we're all here for. I kind of mentioned it before. Like, the band's not secondary. You go for the band, but you stay for the interactions and you stay for that connection that you're making. And I had lots of friends before this, and I think that my friendships continued to make stronger bonds.
Yeah.
Especially like my friendships with Aaron, who I mentioned before, Javier, Amy, Lori. I got a shout out. That's a whole crew. Mar, who I mentioned before.
Yeah.
Just Jason, who I met. Like, everybody was together and celebrated these moments together. And like, we can go back and look at the photos and say like, man, we gotta do this again. That's what gets exciting about it, because now you got to regroup and be like, okay, what's the next spot? What's the next spot where we can celebrate? And yeah, that's why I love this. That's why I love this. It allows me to be the person that I like being the most.
I couldn't agree with you more. I've told you this in the past. Like, I'm real comfortable behind this microphone and talking about things in public and stuff like that. But like out and about, like, I'm very much, I kind of keep to myself, especially at shows. And I have my circle of people I chit chat with. But I just, this is where I'm most comfortable, is in talking to people. And sometimes it's hard for me to, I don't know, go out and rally or whatever. But when you talk about friendships, like, me and my wife are celebrating our 15th year anniversary in November, and literally there was like 5 people that I was like, I had to make sure we're coming, and literally made sure I booked everything to make sure they were coming. And and those 5 people are Pearl Jam friends. And the people I talk to the most on a daily basis is not family, it's Pearl Jam friends.
Yeah.
Three conversations I had today, long conversations, were with Pearl Jam friends. And, those relationships, and I kind of agree with Amanda, like, we've all chased songs. Now, I will say, you said Gonna See My Friends. I wish they'd play the fucking song, but, I digress.
They should have saw the shirt. More people on the rail next time.
Yeah, I guess so. That's the only song I need from Avocado. But
that's Backspacer.
Backspace or whatever. Sorry, my fucking head. But the band, as I love going to see the band. The band is amazing. I love everything about it. But there is like, and we'll get to when I saw him in Fort Worth here in a minute. But there's literally the moments I love the most about it are like the shit that happened around me. And I'm grateful the band brought that to me. But like, you know, it really is. I get excited about seeing my friends and like and the people that I've connected with, and like how we can enjoy this city and do certain things and go to restaurants I've never been to and stuff. And you know, and it was kind of like I talked about, I think it was with you recently, and I said, you know, I have a shit ton of posters, like a ridiculous amount, like to the point where I think it's time to start selling some. And every time I go to sell them, I'll open my flat file. I'm like, man, I remember this show because this is the first show I went to with Brad, or this is the show that I got to meet Amy, and Amy's no longer with us. And for 3 years and up until she passed, like I got to hear stories about her and her child. And was she a big part of the community? No, but like I look at these things and it's like these posters and his merchandise has like brought me these memories of these shows and all these things from the community that I wouldn't have. It's just fucking crazy. This is a rabbit. I mean, Pearl Jam's a goddamn rabbit hole.
Sure is.
You know, it's like the other day that we had, you know how you have like those memories on your phone come up, like, you know, for different things. Yeah. And, you know, See Here Now came up because See Here Now was, you know, when we went was basically like 2 weeks ago, you know, 2 years, 2 weeks ago. And there's a fucking photo of, you know, when I was, of course, much bigger. I was fucking 80 pounds heavier at that point. But there's fat ass Anthony holding up Dale, you know, my shoulders.
Oh, you were
with, like,
fine.
Oh, God, I was huge.
You were fine.
I was fucking huge. But like that's, you know, those moments, like, you know, there's just so much. Listen, I don't know why I continue to do this shit. I love the band. I love the merchandise. I spend way too much fucking money. I hope my wife's not listening. But like, dude, like I fucking like it's just the people and the community. It just fucking makes it amazing. I don't know. It's all that stuff. But let's continue on because I'm pretty sure we can wrap some of these other stories and some other things. And
yeah. If we get to the Texas stuff or Indy or anything like that.
Well, I can run down Texas real quick.
Go for it.
So, of course, they canceled the show in Indianapolis. A lot of things going on. What's going to happen? I actually called Randy. I'm like, should I even continue going to Texas? Like, I have travelers insurance. What's going to happen? You know, I was nervous, but I had someone who kind of eased my pain and said, just fucking go. I said, okay, cool. Got into Fort Worth and basically got to meet with my buddy Scott that I got to know with through Brad, and my buddy Daryl and his friend, and we all got to have a really good time. You know, of course, went right to the merch line, bought all the shit. You know how I do, one of everything, two of everything. Got everything I needed, and then went to the show. But the thing that was crazy the entire day was the rumor was that Matt had COVID or something was going on. And, you know, there was all the speculation. Are they going to perform? Is it just going to be a merch dump like they did in Indianapolis, where there's going to be lines of people buying merchandise? And, you know, once they opened the merch truck and you only saw night one merch up there, I was like, if they were doing a merch dump, they would have had merch night one and night two. So I feel safe they're going to play it tonight. And then it's like, well, then it kind of came out. It was confirmed Matt had COVID. You know, there were somebody might have posted something online with another drummer performing, and I'm not going to mention names. I don't want to get this person in trouble any more than need to, but shit happens, right?
It was me.
and
I got a talking to, and I hope everything is okay.
You're fine. So I go into the show, and I went in with Scott, and I looked at the drum set, and it clearly was smaller than what Matt typically plays. And then that's when I swear to you, dude, I've never seen this before. Fucking wildfire speculation. Some guy's like, dude, I heard Dave Grohl's going to be here. And then some guy's like, no, Foo Fighters are playing somewhere else. And then someone's like, dude, Dave Cruisen's inside. And then someone's like, man, they're going to pull people from the audience. Dude. And then Pearl Jam comes out.
People sometimes.
Oh, yeah, I do too. And then they come out, and it's Josh goes behind the kit. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with Josh. Love the guy, super talented. You know, he's part of the Earth Things. He's part of like everyone's side projects. He's just kind of like the younger brother. This show was super. This was probably going to be one of the most memorable shows I've ever in my life because, you know, when you look at like the way they came out, Eddie comes out and they just start performing and they do what was it, 7 songs sitting down? Yeah, 7
Yeah,
songs sitting
I think
down.
it was.
Longest sit down opening they've ever done in their life. And there was something clearly, whatever. And Eddie, and I even said, like, listen, this is going to be different. You know, if we either we're going to cancel this or we'll try something different. We're doing something different. Matt's got COVID. I'm going over the flu. Yada yada yada. Definitely here in the beginning, Eddie's voice is a little, you know, but he's fighting through. Huge. First 7 songs, fantastic. Then they kind of get into it. A couple things I learned: Josh cannot play Satan's Bed. That he fucked that up big time.
Nobody can play Satan's Bed.
Oh god. But it was great. Every song, right, dude? Every song. Before the song, every fucking member of the band, including Boom when he was on stage, which he was not on the looking right at Josh. And you can, I mean, I swear to you, if you look at the video, they're all before this looking at him, and like if he starts getting off a beat, you see Mike, and Mike's like using like the neck of his guitar to like get him back on track, and the show's going. And on my favorite moment of the entire fucking show, not only was it a crazy set list, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and you're talking about 27 songs. Who would have thought that? But
right, especially on a daylight night like that.
Exactly. When they play Alive, Eddie goes over to him, flexes, and says, "Hit it fucking harder," and then turns around, and I'm just like, what is going on? And then, you know, listen, was it the greatest Pearl Jam show in the world? Not by a long side. Was it a very memorable one? 100%. Was I glad I got to see it? 100%. Was there something special in the air that night? Yes, because the band fought through a lot to perform for the fans instead of canceling, which have canceled a lot of shows. Night 2 happened in between the shows. I enjoyed the city. I did the merch again in the fucking rain, wearing a damn trash bag and a box.
Been there. Gave
donuts out to the front of the line. Got to meet some cool people. Was able to score one of the gym bags, which was one of my big in search of for the whole thing. Got that. I was excited. Then I kind of enjoyed the city. I went out to dinner. We went to this place called Panthers Barbecue, which I would highly recommend if you're ever in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's the best barbecue outside of Kansas City I've ever eaten in my entire life, and some of the best brisket. And just kind of enjoyed the company of a couple of friends, and went to, you know, whatever. Did some kind of cool stuff. Night 2, you know, the picture of Matt Cameron was kind of leaked out online of him going into the building. Then it was deleted. Randy didn't post that. So he did not get a talking to on that.
Lost my source.
And here's the thing. When I'm at a show, if you've ever been to a show, I don't ever usually bring my phone out. Never fucking pull it out. But the night before when they played Elderly Woman Behind a Counter in a Small Town, my daughter was playing that for School of Rock, so I videotaped it and I sent it over to her. And the next day, right before the show started, she's like, "Dad, can you live stream it? I want to watch it." And if there's anything that I try my best to be is the best dad possible. And if my 7-year-old daughter asks for something, I'm going to oblige. So my phone was at like 94%, which this is really random. I'm like, it's probably going to die at some point. So I was like, I'll live stream as long as I can. So I'm live streaming, and I had no fucking idea that it was going to be shared as many times as it was shared. Nor did I even realize there was comments coming across because I had it off. I had no comments coming across. So I just had it going. And, you know, for me, I think the moment of the 2 nights for me was probably hard to imagine, just for the fact that, like, that song was a song I played at my grandmother's funeral before she was buried. It was a very comforting song for me. She's been gone a long time, but there's been, like, you know, just family issues going on. I'm like, man, I wish she could be here. And that day in particular, I had a conversation with some of my family. I'm like, man, I really miss Grandma, and I really wish that, you know, I could just talk to her right now. And I don't really like to sing at shows either. I'm not a singer. I dance. I'll dance my ass off, but I'm not a singer. And then, you know, silly boy Anthony streaming, not realizing that Tanya had shared this to about 5,000 groups, and, you know, fucking all these people are watching it. And I do my best to. I had it. You know, I'm a perfectionist. I had it the long way. I was zooming in and out for my daughter, not thinking. You know, I try my best to give it a cool view. So I guess there was people listening in as Anthony was singing at the top of his fucking lungs. Hard to imagine. So that was. I apologize to the people that were offended by that, but I love it. Yeah,
Because I went in the comments and I said, "Go Anthony, go."
Oh really?
And most people were cheering you on. Yeah.
I refuse to go back and look at the comments or hear myself saying. I will tell you, for the people listening in, I do have the 4K version of that on my phone that I've downloaded, and I'm waiting for the official to come out, and I will be mixing those two together. So at some point, I will be sharing that among the masses. But yeah, no. So fantastic night. This night had its, Undone was fantastic. I didn't realize how many times I've seen that song. I was surprised how many shows I've been to that I've seen Undone. I thought there was a great version of 7 o'clock. Oh, going back to one thing about night one, I do want to say, if there was one takeaway about night one that is something that I will forever hold dear to my heart, is that every solo on that show is the best version of that solo that I have ever heard. Mike McCready was extending them, which
Black,
makes sense. Right? Oh, Black, fucking best version of Black I've ever heard in my entire life. What was it called? Boom on Crazy Mary. His keyboard fucking smashing solo on that was absolutely jaw-dropping. And everything about their solos in that was fantastic. Night 2 ends. Night 2's great. You're looking at, probably the most songs between two shows on the tour. Not a lot of crossovers. I don't know if there was that many similarities between both shows. Randy, you can kind of hit me on the head on that one. I think
not too much. No, just your normal even flow Alive, I believe.
I think that's it. Yeah.
I think that was it.
But yeah, it was a great experience, and I got to meet some cool people. I did the after show thing for you. Like, hey, Anthony, do you mind doing this? And I'm like,
and thank you again for doing that.
Oh yeah, no worries. I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna have to meet a bunch of people that I don't know. And then it's like I have to like put on the persona. Like I have to like put the mask on. I'm like, I'm just gonna be fucking over the top. And then I did, and that was fun. And I had a great time. I got to meet some really cool people. I did get to meet one couple that sat next to me night one that they met at a Pearl Jam show 3 years ago. Never knew each other. They sat next to each other. They're actually going to be on Hitchhiker next month. Never met each other. Fell in love with each other after the show, like through messaging and text messages, are now getting engaged to get married and moving in with each other, and it's all because of Pearl Jam's connection. That's it.
Very cool.
Oh, fucking
awesome.
Totally cool.
And you also started a Live on Four Legs joke that'll last in infamy, where you asked our Australian friends if they had ever eaten it Outback.
Well, I don't know where I come up with half this shit. I don't know why I think of this shit.
It was gold, though. It was fucking great.
This poor couple, which they were amazing. These two friends, they come over and I'm like, where are you from? Australia. And I don't know. The first fucking thing I think of is like, have you tried the great American restaurant Outback? And their expression to me was like, they were like real serious. I had no idea that it wasn't like, it's kind of a spin-off version. To look at me like, no, we haven't had a chance to do that yet. And then it's like, then they come back for night 2, and I'm like, have you tried a bloomin' onion yet from Outback? And they're like, no, I haven't had a chance to, should we? I'm like, no, but fucking, it was awesome.
Anthony, I got to tell you, they came back on for night 1 in Austin, and I asked them like, hey, what's the Outback update? And they're like, because after that, I guess they found out more about what it was, and they kind of laughed and were like, oh, we had no idea. We had no idea that it was just a mock of Australian culture.
Yeah, it was. Just mocking it altogether. Yeah, it was. They're good people, really good people. But I will say, after night 2, I was tempted by a lot of good, because I had good seats. I had really good seats for both shows, and I was tempted with even better seats for Austin. And I was like, if I do this, I'm almost certain my wife is going to fucking kill me. And I originally was going to do Austin, but my son was playing soccer, my daughter was playing her concert, and she was playing a Pearl Jam song, and there was no chance I was missing that. So Austin happens, and it was a first back-to-back show that they've done. And, I didn't really watch any of the live streams. I was super busy with life. But if you look at the set list, and they got a 27-song set list the last night of the show, and a lot of great songs. A lot of Chloe, Dancer, Crown of Thorns, which I still think is one song. They put it on for twice. It's to me, if you're playing
it's 2 tracks on the album.
I know. To me, it's 1. Okay, sue me. But I mean, that half full is that's. I mean, that to me is a very underrated Pearl Jam song.
They played a lot of them that night. Who You Are was very, very cool. Unemployable was really cool. Not one of my favorites, but Unemployable was very, very cool. Hey, do you mind? Because I think I want to go back to Dallas real quick. Because I had told people, I had promised them that I had an announcement to make. And this is part of the announcement.
Oh, by the way, you're making an announcement?
Yeah.
Did you get that? I like that.
Kinda. Play it again.
You didn't hear it? Let me turn it up.
Excellent.
I'll take it. Yes, it is excellent. We got to see another really cool emotional storytelling moment. Ed read a poem from the poet laureate of Fort Worth, Dallas. I'm not sure of which area, but his name is, and trust me, I've been practicing saying his last name, Joaquin Zihuatanejo, I believe is Zihuatanejo. I really have to work on that.
Yeah.
And he wrote this just beautiful, beautiful poem about his life and how Pearl Jam helped save his life from homelessness. And it was incredible to witness and hear him. And then seeing Joaquin afterwards just run on the stage and do laps and be like the most excited person on the planet. It was just really a treasure to see. And the announcement is that on Monday we are actually recording an episode where we will be interviewing Joaquin, and that should be out the next Thursday after our normal weekly episode. So if you guys want to hear his backstory a little bit and about that moment and how he was feeling in that moment, I think it's going to be a really special episode. It's going to be one of those. So I'm very happy to share that with everybody.
Yeah, baby. Sorry, I had this whole thing, and I haven't really even used any buttons. I will say that when Eddie was actually saying that speech, I felt you could almost hear a pin drop in the place, and I felt like, and I think the community can agree, if you hear that speech, and if you're watching this, then your connection to the band is large. I felt like he was saying what a lot of us think, and how the music is interpreted by us, and how it affects our lives. So, yeah, for 100% for sure. I teared up twice that night. One was for Hard to Imagine. The other one was when that speech was coming on, and I kind of knew it was the guy to the side, because when Eddie was saying the speech, you can see like this person that was like this, and then kind of did this, and then somebody had passed like napkins to him. I was on one side of the stage, it was happening on the other side, and I was like, I looked at the guy next to me, and I was like, I think that might be the poet right there. But I think a lot of people were not expecting the person that came out on stage to be associated to the name that was associated based off of what it was being said. So I think and that's just us being, whatever, we assume things. But once everything connected, I'm like, oh man, that was him. And I, that's a moment. I think we all battle demons, and to be recognized by things and how we come over and how people can, utilize the music as something that comes over, it was pretty special.
Yeah. Totally. And I think that's you don't get into those deep conversations when you're around Pearl Jam people, but you kind of know that a lot of people have gone through and seen some shit, whether it be, losing family members early in life, or, having really tough bouts of anxiety, depression, cancer, and having to overcome that. Hey, Jason commented, hey, Jason, I said you were a fantastic fucking person earlier. So just, if you didn't catch that, I just wanted you to hear that. And where the hell was I on that? It's just, I got distracted. So I'm sure that was a wonderful thought that I had.
No, it was a great show. It's all good. It is what it is. And now we go back to Austin.
Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, once again, I think we already kind of talked about it, but yeah, you had 2 shows, 27 songs on night 2, 23 on night 1. Opening with Nothing Man on night 1. Nothing Man gets me every time. That is, especially like to get fucking hit
Good
with
opener.
that right open for an opener. I mean, any man that's a father or
Nashville
dealing with
last year,
emotion,
too.
oh my God, that just hits you. That fucking hits you. I mean, listen, I cry at everything. We've talked about it. I cry. Like my daughter, like, just gets out of bed and she's in a good mood. I'm like, oh, it's the greatest moment of my life. But like, yeah, that gets me. And then LD1 Behind a Counter, Small Town, Thumbing My Way. That's such a beautiful song. Footsteps, Present Tense, Whoever Said, Save You, Corduroy, Quick Escape, Even Flow, Out of My Mind, which I'm going to be the person who says it. I'm sorry. Out of My Mind. I've heard it fucking twice live already. It does nothing for me. It's
It's
nothing.
the excitement that it's there.
I know.
I like it. It doesn't quite move the needle for me either. And yeah, I was with you at Fenway, and I saw it there. But it's like I still respect how important a moment it is. But out of the deep cuts, I don't think it would be
Correct.
in the top 10 that I would ask for.
Well, it's like Philly Night 4 in with the Halloween show when he's like, "All right, you better get out your checkbook because I'm gonna play it." And I'm like, everyone's like, "What the fuck is he gonna play?" And then it plays Out of My Mind. I'm like, this is what the guy paid for. I mean, whatever, cool. In My Tree, Animal, Given a Fly, I Got Shit, Porch, Wishless, Smile, Whipping, Do the Evolution, Spin the Black Circle, Alive, Barbara Roy. Fantastic first night. Second night, Three Arms Around Me.
You didn't talk about Pin the Black Circle.
Oh, in Fort Worth. That is the most genius sign I've ever seen in my entire life. Basically everyone from night 1 that was on the rail that was camping out, they were cooked. Like, I've never seen a group of people that were like, I can't fucking sleep outside anymore. And then they all got behind the stage seating at first of all, the most beautiful venue in America that I've ever seen Pearl Jam in is in Fort Worth. I'm telling you, Dickies Arena was the cleanest bathrooms, cleanest facility, best sounding, unique facility. It's so easy, nicest people in the world. I was shocked how nice it was. Texas gets a bad rap sometimes. But there's this behind the stage is this like bar area, standing room only. What'd you say?
Southern hospitality.
Oh, I guess so. I usually think Southern. I think of like Georgia and stuff. I don't ever think of Texas, but that's whatever. But standing room only type deal. And then they had these fucking individual signs that were hanging with the letters to make. And then they kept every so often you see a letter drop and it would go right down. So then like it was Pin the Black Circle. And then what was the others? They had another song they lost a letter to, and it was something else. But it was yeah, it was cool. And then they teased it, but they didn't play it, and that was fine. But they did play it later on, right? Yeah, they played it night
Austin.
1. So and they knew that they were playing it for the people because all those people were following all through the shows. The people that were holding the signs were there for all the shows. Night 2, Three Arms Around Me, Wash, Sometimes Low Light Black, Retrograde. I think this is going to be a song in a couple years we're going to be going back to, and they're going to play it, and we're like, man, I wish they played it more.
Yes,
in my opinion.
100%.
Once, Never Destination, Why Go, Half Full, Daughter, Unemployable, Dance of Clairvoyance, Habit, Who You Are, Glorified G, Rearview Mirror, Imagine, Last Kiss, Chloe Dancer, Crown of Thorns, State of Love and Trust, Jeremy, Better Man, Alive, Rockin' and Free Roll, and ending the tour with Yellow Lead Better.
That encore is perfect without Imagine the Last Kiss. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I think we could retire Last Kiss. I think if maybe we should hold signs. No more.
No negativity. No negativity. You hold signs for stuff positive, and that's how. Because if you give negativity to Ed's just gonna say "fuck you." We'll do it more.
Yeah. I was gonna hold a sign for night 2 in Texas because that was my 50th show. But then there was someone else who had a sign up the night before that got all this recognition and shit. And I'm like, you know what? I don't need this shit. I don't need recognition.
Your friends celebrated with you. You don't need
that was it. That was
It's not no big deal.
So let's go back to the list because we're jibber jabbering tonight.
Why don't we, Anthony? We should take some phone calls. How about we do that?
Let me lock up. Let me open up. Let me see if this shit's gonna work. Let me Bluetooth into this. Go ahead and start talking, and I'm gonna start locking it up. This is gonna be interesting.
Okay. You mentioned crying, and I did my fair share. I have my songs where I certainly get emotional and choked up during. There were a couple of really, really just bad ones. And both, no, not both of them. Both of them were avocado songs, actually.
Hey, I'm gonna test it real quick just to make sure it's coming through.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. Okay, so I'm gonna open it up, and we're gonna have the hotline. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. I'm gonna start with night 2. The song was Come Back. And before the song, they had talked about a couple that just lost a child. And then you're paying attention, you're listening. And then once they said their child named Ben, I fucking lost it.
Mm.
Like, Ben's the name of my son. He's a little older than 2 now. He's an amazing, intelligent, where somebody called him a genius yesterday, and it's not the first time. I don't know what we're dealing with there, but adorable and just so loving. He's such a wonderful kid. And to hear him say the name like that, I I told my wife I might walk out. Like
Mm.
I could not take it at that moment. Really, really emotional. And the other moment happened, and I cried during release. I cried during Corduroy because Corduroy is my like, holy shit, this is it. This is what you live for.
Yeah.
It's always that. And I think the other time that really choked me up more than any other song in their catalog that I've heard live is the version of Inside Job. And Inside Job is already a pretty emotional song for me, but I don't know what got into me at the moment, but the lyrics at the end, life comes from within your heart and desire. Just thinking about that, and it kind of put, I guess, like validated everything that I had been doing for 5 years and all the hard work that, you know, like this is part of like what you do and what you love. And I put my heart into it because that's just a lot of it. Again, going back to just want to see you guys happy that you get to relive old shows and you get to learn about new shows,
Yeah.
especially learning about the new shows. I think it's just so important that we go back to years that maybe you're not paying attention to, or countries or cities that we're not paying attention to, and people take from that and they take important stories out of that. And I have that's all I wanted to do, was just share stories and preserve memories. And that's a lot of, I don't have a daily job. My daily job is watching my kid and helping him grow and turn into a human being and all that. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job at that. But once he goes to bed, I put on the podcaster hat and I do some hard work, long hours with this. And I think that just really hit me in that moment, that you were doing it for all the right reasons and that you were meant to be doing it. So I lost it, like full on, like sobbing,
Mm.
not just like tears rolling down my eyes, but like a little, like a little, like a little bit of that. So not embarrassed by it. Nobody should be embarrassed by
No.
their
No.
emotions at a Pearl Jam show. I think that's, you can keep them to yourself if you want to, but don't be embarrassed by
Um, so we've had 4 phone calls since I just let you go through. I didn't want to interrupt that story. So if anybody wants to call back
or
in,
all 4 of
let's.
them from Mark Kirby saying, I don't want to hear Gigaton songs anymore. Because
No. One was from, looks like one was from Maine. One was from
that's
Indianapolis.
probably Ned.
Oh, we'll find out here shortly if they call back. I think we all have our moments and we look back at things, especially with the band and what it means to us. And I think that certain songs hit different ways through our lives and stuff. And yeah, I think that's what's important. I think that's what makes the community so special, is that they can understand it. Because I think a lot of people around us in our regular lives just don't understand that, and that's what's crazy.
Why do you see a band over, all these different cities? Isn't the show exactly the same? It's all the same
Yeah.
tropes. Like, even parents and siblings, like I can't really get them to understand it, and they won't. Just
No.
know that it makes me happy. They don't ask questions about it either, which is fine. They won't understand it, so I just do it. And I
And for
guess they're
people
proud of me
asking,
for it. I don't know.
the phone number is on the screen. If you look on the top, you can call. If you want to call in right now, call us at 913-703-4110. That number again is 913-703-4110. Oh, we got our first call.
All right, movie phone's working.
Let's make sure we are. Here we go. And you are live with Randy and Anthony. What's your name and where are you calling from? Huh?
Can you hear? I can't.
I don't hear shit. Let's try. Cool.
Stay on the line. Technical difficulties.
They've hung up. It shows connected.
We got our first prank call before we got our first call.
So. I don't know. It was great. Let me oh God, who are these people calling? Let me call one of these people. Let me just give
call
him
Ned. Ned's the main guy. Call Ned.
Got it. Howard carrier call. Okay, I don't care. Got it. Relaying your call through. Okay, cool. Call. All right. Who's this? Okay.
Meanwhile, I'm getting all these messages on Facebook. You're like, hey, like.
Well, let's see. Why is it not coming through? Wait, hold on. Hello? Can you hear us? Hold on, let's try this. Can you hear us?
Press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Oh, hello? What the hell? I once again, Anthony tries to fucking do something. Oh, someone's on hold. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hello?
I can hear you.
You can hear me? Who's calling?
I can hear you.
How do we? I hear a little bit of them from your phone speaker.
Okay. This is Anthony, and you're on the phone. Who's this? And where are you calling from?
Dale from Drake It.
Dale from Drake It. Dale, what do you want to tell us
Who?
about? His name's Dale. Dale, what do you want to tell us about the
I don't think I know
2023
a
tour
Dale.
and maybe some memories?
Oh, I wanted to tell you that I missed you, and I'm sorry that I didn't get to see you in Fort Worth. I could go, but merch line sucked. It was the hottest probably the hottest tour that I've ever been on. Merch line sucked, and
I saw you dying on that merch line in Chicago.
So I don't know.
Yeah, Dale, first of all, yeah, I missed you so much. I tried my best to get you to come out there. I was going to buy your ticket. God, we got so many calls coming in. But yeah, I would have loved to seen you. Merch line, way too fucking hot. I got rained on. It was miserable. But I am looking forward to our next shows, and hopefully you, me, and Randy. Maybe I'll have you on one shoulder and Randy on the other shoulder. We're going to redo that photo.
Yeah,
I am not Dale's size, so good luck.
Photo folks see here now, but one of the things that one of the moments that I really thought was the last night was in Austin too, when Ed had gotten the diary from Monica, who was in the crowd, and he had read it, and he said, "Now I understand why you fuckers fucking travel." And why you're such a great community, because you guys fucking travel to see each other. And then I think it was the first time that I've ever seen him that he understood that. Like, I'm sure he understands it, but I think somebody penned it really nicely, and now he understands why we fucking do this. And then it was so crazy. I went to 6 of the 9 shows, and every place I went, I saw the same people, and we running into each other, and it was just the best. So. But you guys are doing a great show. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it, Dale, and it was good seeing you and your son out there, and those photos were fantastic. So I'll be talking to you soon, brother. Hope you have a good one.
Okay, Take care. Bye.
See you, brother. Bye. All right.
I don't think your callers can hear me, so I'll just.
No, they can't hear you. I'm doing my best. I'll relay everything. For some reason, once again,
I can hear them though.
This update to this fucking $1,000 soundboard should be simple. Like, I should be. Boom, good, go. No, not that. All right, and as people are calling, listen, call back in. I'll get you on. And we had like 6 people trying to call in. I have no idea. Just call. We'll take them one at a time and go from there as you tell your stories from a 2023 tour. That was Dale. That is our friend Dale. That was I've been to many shows with, and I adore that man dearly. And being able to hear him going out on the tour and seeing it with his son, and I know that he posted a lot of those of what the band means to him, and especially with him going through some stuff. As we're waiting for the next call, I do want to share a quick story. I was given permission. My buddy Scott from LA was on a plane on the way home from Austin, and had a Mike McCready shirt on, a Pearl Jam shirt on, and this older couple in front of him in first class turned around and said, Oh, that's a great shirt. Did you? My son actually plays in the band. And Scott said, who's your son? He said, oh, Mike. I said, did you go see a lot of the shows? And Scott, who's been to a lot of shows, like, yeah. And they said, "Oh, well, we've heard the new album and it's so good." And they start talking about things, and they had a Mike McCready guitar pick they gave him and all this stuff. But they were talking about, "Oh yeah, you get the big tour next year and all the music." Like the parents were just like, "Oh," and I asked them, like, "Did you get their number at least? Can we call them up?" Hold on, we got a caller, and
Caller.
all right, let's get you on speaker here.
Maybe they have McCready's parents' number.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is Anthony speaking.
Press 1.
Hello? 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 All right. You know what? Oh, wait, there's someone else calling. Hello? This is Anthony. Hello?
I think they're leaving you voicemails.
To accept, press 1.
Accept.
Voicemail, press 2.
Hello?
Hello,
Hey, this works. This is Anthony. You're on air. Who is this?
this is Mark from Louisville, Kentucky.
Welcome, Mark
Mark
from Louisville,
Kirby.
Kentucky. We know Mark very well. Mark, what do you want to enlighten us with your information?
Well, I was very upset that I had to miss the 2023 tour. Unfortunately, we got a little bit of a health scare with my wife. She has some heart issues, and we're going to have to miss the 2024 tour as well because we have to meet with heart transplant team up at Mayo Clinic in Rochester, New York. So if you guys could try to do something special, don't raise money for her, but maybe just keep her in your thoughts and your prayers, and just keep her in your guys' mind while you're on the 2024 tour, I'd really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Mark,
Rochester, Minnesota.
Yeah, Mark, we'll talk off air. I'm always about helping the community, and there's definitely something. I feel like we can figure something out. Mark, you've been listening to me when I was doing shit previous, like when I was doing random things podcasting. You've been around a long time, so I've. It was great when we got to meet last year, and man, I really. It's sad to hear that your wife's going through this, and that I couldn't imagine. I'm kind of getting emotional thinking about it. I'm really sorry that you're having to go through this. But yeah, so no tour for you in 2024. Definitely focus on your wife's health. But we'll have the new album. Maybe that will cheer you up because you won't have to hear about Gigaton anymore, because I know that you fucking hate that album with a passion.
Well, Buckle Up will have extra meaning to me here in the next couple of years.
Well,
That's as positive as I've heard from him in a long time.
I hope. Well, I hope everything goes. Any other words that or anything else you want to chat about while I have you on air?
No, just thank you so much for what you guys do. I love, I've been a Pro Jam fan since like 1992. I saw 20 shows within the first 2 years, and the knowledge that Randy and Anthony, what you guys shared to me is stuff that's eye-opening, because so much of the early 90s and mid-90s when I saw them, I've forgotten so much. So when I hear you guys talk about those shows, it's kind of like going down memory lane.
Well, I'm not smart. I just read off of livefootsteps.org, so you can thank Dave for that. And Randy's the knowledgeable one. I have a passion for this band and the community, like people like you, so I do the best I can. But Dave, I'll be thinking
Take care. Answer to our phone calls.
I know I have so many phone calls coming through. Anyway, yeah, I'll be answering more phone calls. But listen, dude, I'll be thinking about your wife and you, and we'll talk soon.
All right, take care, Anthony. Bye.
See you, brother.
Thanks, Mark. Sorry to hear that.
That is
sad news.
That's good. Yeah, the 7 people that called me call back. I kind of like the live studio line. I got to figure this shit out a little bit better, but I like it.
Yeah, it's spontaneous,
Yeah, Mark has been a big advocate for Touring Fan Live and has helped a lot. And if you don't know Mark Kirby, he's part of a lot of the social media groups. And to hear that he's going through so much with his wife, I'm definitely thinking about you. And whatever I can do to help, definitely let me know. That's sad, really sad, especially a wife, significant other, anybody. That really hit fucking hard. Up, we have another call. Let's see who this is. And
Mar. To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
This is Anthony, and you're live on air with Randy. How can we help you today?
Hey, actually, I feel like there's a delay. Let me turn off my sound. This is Mar from San Francisco.
Well, hello. How are you?
What's up, Mar?
I'm great.
So
Let me see. I feel like I can't hear you. Go ahead.
I can speak louder if you need me to. Randy is very excited that you're on the call. I know you can't hear him, unfortunately, because of technical difficulties.
Oh, okay. There we go. Did he just raise his hands in a V?
He definitely raised his hands in a V. He was doing the Jeremy for you. But tell me a little bit about the tour and some of your memories.
I went to all of the shows, including the one that didn't happen in Indianapolis. I found out when I got there, but it was a great day anyways. I want to talk about how I brought my very casual, not really a Pearl Jam fan boyfriend with me to Austin Night 1. And I made him wait in GA line with me overnight, which he did. He was very sweet, and he was like, whatever, I'll just, whatever you want to do, and we had a great time. And I read about this on my blog for Live on Four Legs, but it just was I think I enjoyed Dave's interactions with Mike McCready more than my own. Because there were just moments because it was Dave's first rail for Pearl Jam. He's seen Pearl Jam 6 times with me before, but this was his 7th. And Dave was on the rail. He's very tall and slender. He's got the curly hair. And, Mike just zoned in on him, and he was like, whoa, you're new. I'm going to look at you. And there was, one moment, which I think is, my favorite moment, was when Mike was looking to Dave for to sing along with one of the songs. I don't know which song it was because he didn't he couldn't tell me which song it was. But at one point Mike was looking at him thinking you're gonna sing along, right? And then Dave was like, ah, and just starts shaking his head. And then Mike just starts going, ah. And it was a really cute moment. And then, of course, during Porch, when Mike flopped down on his belly and shoved the guitar neck right down in front of me and David to play. And that was a especially, great moment. And I have a photo of it on my Facebook page. And you can just see the light in David's eyes. It's he was kind of glowing afterwards. And I was like, you get it now. Because, I think he was getting sick of me talking about Pearl Jam. And, for months and months and months, just, so patient. Just, okay, that's great. I'm very happy for you. But I think, this was the time where he's like, yeah, they're actually a really special band to see live.
So how long you been? You said his name's Dave, right?
Yeah.
How long you been with Dave?
9 years.
Oh wow, 9 now.
Yeah.
And it's just your boyfriend?
Yes.
9 years. That deserves a ring. Do we need to call? do we need a 3-way call him and tell him to put a ring on it?
Oh God.
I kind of like the way we have things.
All right. I'm just saying if me and Randy need to do a show where we're gonna call it the Pearl Jam Love Connection, I'm coming up with this idea where we need to call fans that are dating. We have to force engagements. We can do that. I'm just giving you a heads up on that. But no,
this was not my idea.
I
don't want to get involved in your personal life that.
Randy says it's all his idea. He wants to be totally involved in your personal life. But no,
I love that.
I first of all, it's brave for someone who's not a huge Pearl Jam fan to do the GA thing because it takes a lot of dedication. I've done it quite a few times, to camp outside, to do all of it, to kind of be the uncomfortability, to have to and if you don't do it right, there's a process in doing GA right. I don't know I'm pretty sure if you've done 9 shows, I think you did it. You have to have a hotel room backup to showering, because if you don't shower and you're that person in GA line who doesn't shower, that's not a good thing. It's just a lot with GA. But it's cool that you have that memory and that you have those moments with Dave. I think it's great. I love that story.
Hey, Anthony.
Yeah. Well, this one was a pretty good experience because the Moody Center offered numbered wristbands that they were giving out at 8 a.m. So I think that cut back on the stinky. We just we got in line at midnight. We slept overnight, and then well, he didn't sleep. He can't sleep. I'm like a house cat. I can sleep anywhere. So while I was sleeping, he was listening to his podcast.
Okay.
Probably, well, definitely not yours is. He's
Maybe now he's
behind the
convinced.
bastards or something.
That's all right. It's okay. You don't offend me at all. Randy was gonna ask a question. Randy, what were you gonna say? I can repeat it to her.
Try and relay this to her. So,
Yep.
I mean, again, like, thank you so much for putting the blog together. It was really fantastic to see.
Randy, thank you so much for doing the
story.
blog and doing the whole entire story.
And I believe there was a point where you actually.
Thank you for the opportunity. It was so much fun, and
of course.
Maybe, who knows? Maybe I'll get to do an Indianapolis one next year.
I hope so.
He hopes.
I certainly hope they owe it to you.
Okay. Well, I'll free up your line now.
Well, I had one more thing. Sorry.
He has one more thing to tell you. Hold on. He's gonna tell it to me, and I'm gonna tell it to you. Hold on 1 second.
So in the blog, I believe when you went home to go to the metal shows, I believe you said something about your boyfriend and how Dave apparently gets attention from people in the from the stage, and that kind of all ties in together right there from what actually happened and comes full circle in Austin. Am I right about that, or am I being misleading myself?
Wait, what happened?
So
okay, never mind.
It's a lot. I try my best for you to hear that, and I'm not really good at this. I have to figure out the phone situation a little bit better.
I'll message her.
Randy said he's going to message you, but I really appreciate you calling in and telling your story. And I'm very happy that you had those moments with Dave. It sounds like you had a fantastic time.
Thank you. All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, Mar. Thanks so much.
Mar
was a good friend on this tour.
I did see a call that said from Canada, so we'll see. I mean, literally, just I don't want to show phone numbers, but it's we'll see if anyone else calls.
Damn.
This is cool. This is cool. I dig it. It almost kind of reminds me like those Nightline shows, like the
little bit
late night shows.
This is in a way like a little bit that, but a little bit pirate radio because it's not. It's being broadcast on social media. It's all independently run by you, and yeah.
I do want to take a second though, and before we go to this, if a phone call comes or this video, I think that the way the band has grown has developed people to do some pretty amazing things, and sometimes they don't get the credit they deserve. And it takes a lot of work to do certain things, and I just want to say the amount of money, time, and effort that you have invested in what you've done over the last few years, because you have the knowledge of the band. I don't have the knowledge of the band. I barely know the fucking lyrics half the time. No, I'm lying. I know the lyrics. But the amount of knowledge that you bring to this community and do for the community, especially what you do in Chicago and how you bring these fundraisers together and stuff, is really honorable. And what you did to bring someone that you really didn't know with Sully and friends and all these different people that like you just bring the forefront. You give this platform for people. I just think it's pretty fucking awesome, Randy. And it sucks that I couldn't do it and we couldn't put our arms around each other and I couldn't squeeze you, but that time's coming soon. So, once again, all I can say is if you are a vacationing person, that I heard that the weather is extremely nice in Seattle the 30th through June 3rd. May 30th through June 3rd. So just saying, you might want to look into it. Anyway.
I got to thank you for that. I'd also be really rude not to. And again, I do it because I guess my heart tells me it's the way to do it. So I go with my gut, I go with my heart, and apparently it's worked out really well. So
I hear you. Well, listen, I haven't had any more phone calls. Do you want to go to this surprise that you were going to tell everyone about?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, yep. So I thought you were going to actually tee up into that because we don't have our third piece of the DTR here, and that is, DTR, if your name started with a T, that would all be, we'd have a D in Dave, we'd have an R in me. You need to be Tanthony now.
Or just Tony.
Oh yeah.
Just real fucking simple. Just Tony. Anyway, all right. Continue.
All right, so it does work. So I thought you were going to tee up into what he did here. So all the time I am messaging him and I'm just like, hey, this would be a cool idea. This would be a cool idea. And I've seen these things on like, sports pages before where it's all statistics and it shows you over the years, think of like home run leaders for a certain team. And they'll go through like the first year the team was in existence, as right now you'll see 1990, the first year the band was in existence, and they'll go through and they'll show over time like, okay, this power hitter comes up and you see him like climb up the rankings throughout the years. And it's kind of a cool visual because you get the story being told. So I kind of thought to myself, we did this on like Saturday or Sunday, and I messaged to him. I'm like, hey, this would be kind of a cool visual to show like all the songs and how they've in plays and like how they've grown and when certain songs went certain places. Like it's a really cool visual that we have here. Like look at Leash dropping off and there goes Blood. Better Man's starting to creep up now. Corduroy's creeping up. Goodbye Deep.
Even Flow takes the race in the first place, and Alive is in second place.
That must have been 2000.
Porch. And now Porch is falling down. Oh, Black has taken over Porch. And here comes Corduroy at a 4-0, 10, 4, 11, 4, 13.
First non-10 song is gonna do it.
Oh, no. Is Corduroy going to beat Jeremy? And Corduroy overruns Jeremy. Oh, no. Porch has just taken over Black, and Black has fallen down. Corduroy's coming up, and Corduroy's right behind him. Oh, at 2016, 2017. Oh, no. Porch is taking a lead. We have a lead. 28, 2019, 2020. Oh, shit. COVID. 2021, 2022. 2023, and here we go. Even Flow has won the race, followed by Alive, Porch, and Corduroy. Who would have thought this?
Well, it's a really fun visual to look at, and it kind of came. We did our Do the Evolution episode this week, and I was kind of thinking like it's sort of amazing how Do the Evolution and given a flyer back to back the 9th and 10th most played songs in their catalog, and Do the Evolution especially. Like just it's been one of the stat nerd things that we found out is that it's been played out of any song that's been played the most at the most shows since it's debuted, and that's at 81% of the shows since it is debuted live, which is a lot. And it speaks to everybody's enjoyment of it and it being a live moment and everything like that. So I kind of thought, I'm like, there were 5 years, like think about it, 549 plays. Like you have to go through in 25 years where other songs from 10 had 32, 33 now. And I wanted to kind of see the visual of like where they creep up and what songs they overtook. And I believe like Go was in the top 10 for a while and that fell. State of Love and Trust too. So it's just a really interesting look. And I'm going to talk to him a little bit more. And I really thank him for doing that. It's a phenomenal thing. And I was thinking about doing that for albums too, starting from the year the album came out and then progressing, because that'd be more interesting, and probably because that was top 15 right there. But like you'll get to see where like Why Go stopped getting played. You get to see where Deep stopped getting played. It'll be a cool visual. I want to try that for all of the albums that have had probably the first 5 or 6 that have had some longevity like that.
No, I think it's a really cool graphic, and being a sports guy myself, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's really cool to kind of see that like build up, but you know how it is. Well, listen, Randy, it's 9:49 Central Standard Time, 10:49 on the East Coast, and if you're listening on the West Coast, it's a beautiful 7:49 with a breeze coming your way. I don't know why I said it that way, but anyway, it's time for Anthony to eat dinner and get ready for bed. With that, I'll play some background music, shall we? And this one's for JJB. Is there anything that you want to say before we end this show?
I don't keep things short and simple, but I will here. I love you guys a lot. Just, even it's one of those things, if I don't know you, and you're part of this and you make this happen and you're a good person within what we do, I love you. Much love.
Yeah, baby.
Well, in the many words of Pearl Jam, enduring Yell Ledbetter. It's, you know, I'd rather be... I don't know what I was going to go with this. Anyway, it's been a fun evening. I like doing this with Randy. I hope we get to do it again. I like a live phone line. I think a live phone line's great. Until next time, I'm Anthony. That's Randy, as I point to the wrong way. Talk to you soon, guys. Hope you enjoyed the show. And if you didn't, well, tune into something else, I suppose.